Hey, what is up, YouTube? It's your girl Miranda here, and I got kind of a different video for you here today. Today we're going to be reacting to Jessie Gender's Emilia Perez script. So some of you may know this already, but I'm actually a script editor for Jessie. So I've worked on a number of her scripts, and since I know almost nothing about this movie, I thought it'd be fun to kind of do like a first read reaction because oh boy, what little I have heard has not been very positive. And honestly, like last time I talked to Jessie, she like ranted at me for like 10 minutes about how much she hates this movie and how awful it is. And like honestly sounds like one of the worst movies ever made. We're gonna be running through the script together. This is my first time reading it. I have read like little snippets of it here and there, but this is my first time reading the whole thing. So, what you're about to be seeing is genuine first time reactions. So, hopefully this is fun. I'm planning on this video coming out after Jessie's videos, so make sure you go check out the full video first, and then come back and watch this one. Or I don't know. I'm not your mother. Do whatever you want. All right. What I do know about this movie is that it is a musical, which I'm not really a fan of musicals. It's not my jam. There are very, very, very few musicals that I like. And I know it is it stars a transgender actor, which is, hey, thumbs up for that. It's based on the story of a narco cartel person who comes out as trans, and it's made by a French director. And not only are trans people really upset about this film, but also Mexican people, because like not only does it lead into a lot of negative trans stereotypes, it also leads into a lot of negative Mexican stereotypes. So here we go. Okay, so I already know that this is like an awards darling. Yeah, so here we're talking about it's 2024's awards darling. I know it was doing quite well at the BAFTAs and the Golden Globes. I used to like really like pay attention to that kind of stuff, but I've kind of like last few years I'm just like, I don't care. All right, so it's a French film. It's directed by Jacques Audiard. It's based on Boris Razon's 2018 novel Écoute. Follows a trans Mexican cartel leader who hires a lawyer to help her transition and fake her own death. And it's also a musical, so fantastic. So already, I mean, this doesn't really reflect the reality of a lot of trans people. It also doesn't reflect the reality of a lot of Mexican people. I mean, this is a very specific story. Not that you can't have a story about a trans Mexican cartel leader, but it's all in the execution. So let's read on here. The movie is on. I didn't even realize it was on Netflix. I thought it was. I don't know. This is how out of the loop I am. It's like I have a Netflix password, but I never watch Netflix. So yeah, LGBTQ plus critics were not so kind. GLAAD called it a profoundly retrograde portrayal of a trans woman. Big surprise there. Okay, so of course, this cleaning up at awards shows. Of course. I mean, cis people always like patting themselves on the back for being such great cis allies. So yeah, we have comparisons to the Green Book or Sia's music. I'm not familiar with Sia's like music, the film music. I mean, I'm familiar with her music, but Green Book was like, yeah, again, surface level attempt at representation. Yeah, so it's misery porn. That's exactly what it is. I mean, we've been here before. It's meant to provoke pity, and it's not for the people who are suffering. It's for the the non-marginalized people who get to feel better about themselves. So yeah, it's drawing comparisons to the Danish Girl. I can't remember if I've seen that one. I feel like I did watch it when it came out, but I might have not. I might have skipped it. I don't remember. That definitely came out like before I cracked my eggs, so I probably would have a very different reaction to that movie now. So of course, like if you know anything about Jessie, she tends to be very even-handed and fair and kind. I mean, probably more than a lot of things deserve, but we won't get into that. Okay, so the film opens with a brief melancholic number playing over stereotypical imagery of a mariachi band. All right, so already we're getting into the stereotypes of the mariachis. Uh, yeah. How else would you know the movie's set in Mexico? This is like it's like a Team America thing where like they just jam all the landmarks together. It's like if you're going through Paris, like the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower and like the Seine, they're all like right next to each other. Although I'm pretty sure the Eiffel Tower is actually next to the Seine, but I mean the Seine is a very large river, so the movie spends 15 whole minutes grounding us in Rita's struggles and perspective before we even get to meet the titular character. So already we're centering this through a cisgender perspective, which again, you can make that choice, but then why are you making a film ostensibly about a trans character and then centering it through the lens of a cis character? Like, just, I don't know. Like, why make that? I don't know. Okay. I'm not a filmmaker. Whatever. My opinion is irrelevant. So here we're getting into some pretty harmful tropes about lawyers. I mean, lawyers are not my favorite people, but as someone who has used the services of a lawyer before, you never really appreciate how much, you never appreciate lawyers until you need one. So yeah, here's like, oh, it's like we're defending criminals. It's like her client looks like a criminal. It's like, what's, okay. So, it's not always about proving guilt or innocence. I mean, even in the case where you know your client is guilty, you still have to, you still need a lawyer to, you know, get proper sentencing and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a big difference between a murder charge, like first, second degree murder versus manslaughter. There's all this, there's a bunch of nuance here that is being removed. And now I'm not a lawyer. I have studied law a little bit, but not criminal law. I mean, my study of law is nowhere near here, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so here we're talking about appearances. We never learned the client did kill the wife. So again, this is just purely so we learn more about this Rita character. Okay, so Rita then receives a call from Emilia, who is still closeted and using her dead name, which the film uses liberally even after she transitions, by the way. Of course. Because why would cis people respect the names that we choose for ourselves? It's, of course. And here, oh boy, oh man. I really have to give it to Gascon here, because having to play a male-ish character, like here, she's in heavy masculinizing makeup, which is, I mean, hey, props to actors. You know, they play all sorts of different roles, but like that's got to be hard. That's got to be really, really dysphoria inducing. So of course, we're framing a trans woman as a violent, manipulative male drug lord who wields fear, power, violence, money, and emotional manipulation to get what she wants. So already we're leaning into some pretty negative trans tropes. And again, like, I'm not saying that like you can't tell a story like this, but like it's just, oh boy. And like, imagine, I mean, I could draw a lot of parallels to a lot of different like racial stereotypes, and people would be like wagging their fingers, and yet stuff like this gets awards. So yeah. So again, many critiques of the movie stop at it portrays a trans person as a violent abuser, so it's bad. I mean, it's that's a very reductionist way of looking at things. It's problematic when the only portrayals of the only portrayals of trans people are as violent abusers. So like, I'm not saying that like there's no such thing as a trans person who is a violent abuser, but that is predominantly how we are portrayed, and that's the problem. And then it's the stigma that all trans women are inherently violent or deviants. And that's how we get into kind of like the quagmire that we're in these days, where, you know, trans women are not allowed to use the women's bathrooms because there's this preconceived notion that we are all predators, that we're all violent abusers, when it's, in fact, we're far more likely to be the victims of that violence and abuse. So, again, it's the whole like, oh, this one person did this, therefore the entire group this. And I was like, no. Forever trapped by their male. And it's also doing a disservice to men because because it's just like the implication there is that all men are violent abusers, and that's also not true. Oh boy, we are 4 pages into this 26-page script. I'm already getting wound up. All right. Impulse to avoid this, to never show. Yeah. So this is kind of what I was talking about before. So impulse to avoid these stereotypes, to never show trans people as violent or problematic, often swings too far the other way, leading to overcorrections where trans characters are only depicted as squeaky clean heroes. So again, it's yeah, they feel shallow. It's you know, trans people come in all shapes and colors, all types, whether you're trans or cis or intersex or whatever. Like humanity comes in all sorts, all sorts, and the problem is when portrayals overwhelmingly lean one way. I'm not saying like we're not asking for trans people to be all portrayed as like saints and angels and stuff like that, but hey, we have like some three-dimensional characters. Like they're allowed to be flawed. That's fine, but it's just like they don't all have to be like these like flat cartoon characters that only have like one trait. Yeah. So here we're talking about like how a lot of trans women go through hyper masculine phases. So I mean, definitely that was a phase that I went through, where I definitely like was kind of hyper masculine in my younger years. You see a lot of trans women towards say spaces like the military, and Jessie here talks about like becoming an Eagle Scouts. So yeah, it's kind of like we don't feel like boys growing up, but we're told we have to be boys, so we try to be the most boy thing possible. So this is like the term like denial beard. So if you look at like old pictures of a lot of trans women, you'll see that a lot of us had beards. So it's like that's like an obviously male thing that you can do. Yeah, so here we're kind of extending that to Emilia's role as a cartel boss because yeah, of course, the most hyper masculine thing you can do is be a crime boss. So that's just kind of like a ridiculous, like super. It's like taking it to its like logical ridiculous extreme. Because it's like, oh, maleness is being like in control and violent and stuff. So I'm gonna be the most violent, the most in control. Okay, so Emilia, pre-social transition, hires Rita to help her complete her transition discreetly. Oh, she's already got boobs. Uh, Rita gasps. She has boobs. Oh my god, what? Oh. What the fuck? Oh my god. Is it disgust, surprise, something else entirely? But as fellow trans critic Tilly Bridges, who is, we like Tilly. Tilly and I are blue sky friends. I've seen some folks say this was a gasp of disgust. I've seen some people say this was a gasp of surprise. What I want you to know is either way, this is showing transition as a surprise and something to be shocked by. It's showing you trans people are duplicitous. See what she was hiding from you. And yeah, it's yeah, that's not a good look. I mean, you have someone who's telling you it's like, hey, like I'm transitioning. Why should you be surprised or disgusted by the fact that, their body has changed? It's just like, cause I mean, like I was on HRT for, like a year before I came out. So it's just like, okay, so yeah, definitely shout out to Tilly's Trans Tuesday podcast. I only fix the body, but I will never fix the soul. What? Okay, arguing that identity remains unchanged despite any physical transformation. Rita counters, changing the body changes society, changing society changes the soul. Oh my god. Okay. You don't need to you don't need to medically transition to be trans. The only thing that's required to be trans is to identify as trans. And it's just ugh. Like, oh my god. These people are just like, oh, you'll still be a man. Give you boobs and a vagina. You'll still be a man. I'm like, fuck you. All right. Let's see. So the large trans. Oh yeah. So like body modification, that's definitely like there's a lot of trans people kind of a lot of trans people gravitate towards these kind of like body modification stories because, like, medical science has definitely like progressed a lot. Um, but it's still like not perfect, and it's still like we want that like Star Trek future or like cyberpunk future where we can have whatever body we want. So here we're shouting out Videodrome, which yeah, there's gonna be a shout out to a previous video that Jessie did that I also helped out with and did some voiceover for. I actually really love that video. So yeah, definitely check that out. It was a tremendous honor to be part of that video. It was great. Um, all right, so I don't want to like dwell too much on like references to other media. I kind of want to focus on Emilia Perez here. So yeah, we're also shouting out I Saw the TV Glow, fantastic film, probably my favorite film of 2024. I have like a weird experimental video I'm planning on for later this year on I Saw the TV Glow. It's going to be very tangentially related to I Saw the TV Glow, but you'll see. It's going to be very weird and very experimental. All right, so back to Emilia Perez. Okay, so we're toying with themes of bodily autonomy and societal control. Yeah, so we're back to two cis people talking about a trans woman transition. So, excluding Emilia from the conversation because, why would we get to participate in our own rights and our discussions about our own bodies? Like, again, it's just like, this is clearly like, I appreciate that they cast a trans woman in the lead role, but I don't, it's a story about a trans woman that doesn't have any trans women writing the story. Like, so it's just like, they're not speaking from a place of lived experience. They're not even speaking from a place of like, hey, we talked to some trans people to get an idea. It's like, no. It's just like cis people's idea of what a trans woman's experiences are like, with like just assumptions based on assumptions, like layered on top of assumptions. Like it's a turducken of assumptions. It's awful. Oh, okay. So Emilia's violently attacking Rita to get her speed up her transition process. Okay, so again, framing trans women as being violent, super problematic. So again, like, so here Rita isn't like, it's not like, oh, I want to help my clients, this poor trans woman. Well, it's not really a poor trans woman, but this trans woman, I'm not helping her out of the goodness of my heart or because I want, people to live in the bodies that they want. No, it's under the threat of violence. Wait, really? Okay. So again, like the current political landscape is not like the threat of violence to ensure that people transition or to ensure that people get bodily autonomy. It's the threat of violence that prevents those things. Because like there's a lot of places in the world and in America where if you want an abortion, your doctor may not want to do it for you under the threat of violence. It's so backwards. Oh my god. How many pages? We're 6 pages in and oh my god. All right. Oh, okay. We're talking about I have no idea what this is. Okay, I'm gonna need to hydrate before we get into this. Ooh, apparently this is a meme. Um, I'm a boomer. I don't know anything about memes. I actually have no idea what Jessie is talking about here. Okay. The one where Rita is paraded a magical buffet of trans surgeries like it's some kind of trans surgery Candyland. What? Okay, so out of context, trans people felt the song must have been intended to be a tongue-in-cheek parody of the fetishized way cisgender people turn our surgeries into a spectacle by making a big musical number. Yeah, we all love to have our personal healthcare decisions, especially those involving our genitals, or other, private things that, most people don't like to talk about, or at least not in public. Maybe we like to talk about it with people we love and trust, but not out there in public. So yeah, let's just trivialize the whole thing. That's fine. Mm-hmm. So it's meant to be over the top and funny. Sadly, it lacks the self awareness and context. In the film, it's the comedies and sentiment to come from how freely these surgeries are supposedly handed out. Oh, it's just like you can just walk into a hospital and exchange your eggplant for a taco, or your taco for an eggplant, or just get boobs or remove the boobs. It's like, do these people not realize? Like, fucking hell. Um, I remember having a like discussion with like a conservative friend of mine. Yeah, I have like whatever. I have some conservative friends, whatever. And they're just like, oh, he's just like, oh, I oppose like, like minors getting surgeries. Like, motherfucker, minors are not getting surgeries. Adults aren't even getting surgeries. Like, what are you talking about? Like, do you have any idea how hard it is to get trans affirming surgery or trans affirming care in general? And now, like, I live in Canada, so like the main barrier to trans affirming access in my country is the fact that like we have so few like professionals that provide it. So like for instance, like I requested a referral to get a trans affirming surgery in March of 2024. I'm recording this in January of 2025, and I don't even have the consultation yet. So, like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, they're just handing them out. They're just handing them out. Like, what? Like, what planet are you from? Hello? Like, do you know how hard this shit is? And even if you live somewhere where there is a lot of professionals that provide the service, if you're in America and you don't have health insurance, well, fuck you. Like, better, do you want to buy a house or do you want a surgery? It's like, or, and we're gonna get to it in here because I can see in the next sentence here is like we're gonna go to Thailand, and yeah, like sure, a lot of people do go to Thailand, but it's again, you have to have the means to do that, and not everyone does. I mean, like trans people are overwhelmingly on the low end of the income spectrum of the income distribution, I should say. So yeah, it's just like I hate like it drives me up the wall when like even well-meaning people, and like I'm being very generous by calling them well-meaning because all of them are not well-meaning, but like when they're just like, oh, they're just handing out these surgeries, anyone can just get a surgery. It's like, no, motherfucker, it's really hard to get a surgery. It takes a long time. It makes me so angry. All right. So yes, a lot of trans people do go to Thailand because it's relatively easier to get it done there. But again, like you shouldn't really have to travel like halfway across the world to get like life-saving surgery. And it's not even just the film. Like it's people who like aren't familiar with like trans issues that like don't take the time to learn about the realities that we face, just assume this because they assume that trans affirming care is just like any other care. It's just like, oh, it's like I need to get a vasectomy or I need to get like, oh, like I have a hernia or something, or like just routine surgeries. They assume it's the same. It's not. It's not the same. Like in my country, in Canada, I think there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think there's like 4 doctors total that do bottom surgery, like MTF bottom surgery. I might be slightly off by that, but if I am off, it's not by much. So, and that's for the entire country. So it's just like, makes me so angry. Yeah. And again, it's the trans medicalist tropes that like, you have to get these surgeries to be valid. I mean, like I'm a trans woman. I've had no trans affirming surgeries. Doesn't make me any less of a trans woman. Like, ugh. Oh, it makes me so angry. Okay. Perpetuate that trans women transition to a fully fetishized, sexualized version of womanhood, and we're just sexual perverts who want to become the object of our sexual desire. Yeah, so this whole like autogynephilia trope, which is just it's so harmful. It's just so harmful. Like it's just like this whole like transphobic trope about it, like we only want to transition because like we want to become the object of our sexual desire. That definitely contributed to me not realizing that I was trans until like I was almost middle aged. So like that's definitely something that like I internalized and was deeply harmful to me. Uh, and it's like if you just think about it, it's like yeah, I'm attracted to women, and I also want to be a woman. So of course I'd be attracted. Like, come on. Uh, just fuck. Mm, like I feel my blood pressure rising. It's like I got the heart palps going right now. The medical establishment is pushing trans identities through media and culture to profit from mutilating people, especially children. Like fuck right off. Like just talk to any trans person. Like the amount that we have to push in order to get the care that we need. Like the idea that it's being pushed on us is so backwards because we have to constantly advocate for our own care. Like I basically like when I went to my like doctor, it's like, hey, I'm trans. I need hormones. And like he's just like, are you sure? Like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm sure. Like, and it just like and again, like, you know, Abigail Thorne made a whole video about this with her struggle with the NHS in the UK. It's not that different here. I mean, it's better here because here at least we can get informed consent. It's certainly a lot better here than it is in the UK, but still, like, it's the idea that they're pushing it onto us is just nonsense. It's just nonsense. Okay, so of course the Israeli doctor is portrayed with far more respect than the Thai surgeon because we're not going to get into the whole like racism angle here, but this focus is framed as concern for whether Emilia is truly trans. Hey, the movie got something right! Wow!
Please clap.
The movie actually got something right with doctors who are like, you know, gaslighting us. It's like, are you sure? Are you really trans? Are you sure this is for you? Fuck you. If you want to transition, you should be allowed to transition. It's just like, I don't need permission. So yeah, again, it's like you have to meet this like thing, this trope of gender dysphoria. Like gender dysphoria is not a requirement for being trans. It's not. Like many of us do experience gender dysphoria. I sure as shit did, and still do sometimes. But hey, if you just want to change your body because it'll make you happier, like fuck. Okay. Oh. Ooh. Okay. So here Jessie's talking about her own trans affirming care, and yeah, I'm go watch her video because I don't want to speak for her. So, but yeah, she's kind of talking about like all the hoops she had to jump through, and like, you know, I'm pursuing my own gender affirming. So like, I'll talk about my own experiences because like, I don't want to speak for Jessie. Like, you know, she has her own channel. So, where she can talk about her own experiences, but with my experiences, it's just like, oh, it's hurry up and wait. It's, hopefully I don't have to go through, everything that she had to go through. Because I'm just kind of scanning through it, and this just sounds awful. It's just, oh my God. Just let us do what we want with our bodies. Like it's okay. So back to Emilia Perez. Oh yeah, all these dehumanizing hurdles are good actually. It's good actually that, you know, we have to humiliate you and dehumanize you in order to gatekeep this life-saving care as much as possible. Like if I want to remove my balls, I have to write a fucking essay about how sad it makes me to have balls. But if I had testicular cancer, they would just take them out and no questions asked. Like, so, you know, a lot of the time, like cis people can get the exact same shit that we want to get, but cis people don't have to jump through these hurdles. So it's just like who gives a shit? Like, who Who gives a shit what genitals I have? The film barely addresses how Emilia feels about her own transition until a third of the way through the movie. Like, you would think that would be the most important thing. Like, it's a story about a trans woman's transition. You'd think you would center how she feels about that. But no, we have to talk about doctors and free surgeries and shit. So, and again, it's through cis person's perspective. I'm getting tired. So tired. Oh my god. Well, hey, at least we give props. Our Carla Sofia Gascon still killing it, and like I have zero shade to throw her way. Like it's hey, like roll's a roll, paycheck's a paycheck, and it sounds like she didn't phone it in. It sounds like she really like did her best to sell this, even though like this movie's a pile of garbage. But her performance in it, as far as I can tell, is great. So good for her. I mean, if the movie does get any Academy Awards, I hope the only one it gets is for like best actor. Or I guess it would be best actress. I use the term actor like in a gender neutral term. Like I refer to people as actors regardless of the gender, but I know not everyone is on board with that, but that's just, anyways. Okay, it's striking because it frames Emilia's view of her transition not as a reclamation of identity, but as a rejection of her current self, treating it as a desperate escape of her current self, a shedding of her past to fully embolden someone new. And yeah, it's sure. That's that definitely reflects a lot of trans experiences where we all kind of think of our pre-transition selves differently. This is something that like I've talked about in previous videos. All right, so here, while Emilia seeks to become a wholly new person, she also has a strong emotional tether to her current life because of her family. So yeah, this is something that like, depending on like what age or what stage of your life you're in when you transition, you may not be able to completely sever your connection to your pre-transition self. I mean, this is why like some trans people, they go stealth, like they completely cut off all ties with with their previous lives. But not everyone can do that. And sometimes you do like have to reckon with your pre-transition self, and you have to take that version of yourself with you everywhere you go. And in this case, it's like this person's literally a crime lord, so like they're planning to fake her death and abandon her wife and children. Sure, man. The film doesn't shy away from showing Emilia's brutality from her violent treatment of Rita, although it leaves the broader implications of her crimes, including kidnapping and drug trafficking, mainly off screen, which we'll come back to. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired already. It's an agonizing decision. Having to abandon your family and fake your death. But we see it through the eyes of Rita, not Emilia. So it's just like, again, we're centering the cisgender perspective and reinforce the idea that cisgender people understand the consequences of trans people's decisions better than we do. It's like, fuck off. Like, yeah. And again, it's the same shit that TERFs do. It's just like, yeah, I'm just like nodding along to all of this. Like, it's just from here, Emilia undergoes all of her gender confirmation surgeries at once. What? No, that's not you. Can't do that. This isn't fucking. Oh, this isn't like science fiction magical Christmas land where you can just go in the tube. You just come out. It's just like, no. Like, I get it's a movie and I get it's stylized and it's, it doesn't have to be realistic, but it's just like, no, that's not how that works. And again, we're hyper fixating on the genitals because, a lot of cis people tend to reduce people to their genitals. Okay, so now we're jumping ahead 4 years. She surprises Rita at a dinner party. Look at you. I can just like imagine you're just like sitting there in the subway, and then just like all of a sudden, pow! Like, what's up? Oh my god! All right, so we're giving props to the cinematography. So it's just like, again, it's just like, yeah, there are some good filmmaking here, but it's all in service of a shit story. Yeah, it's just, oh my god. Okay. I hate this movie. I hate it. So, like, you have this trans woman who basically threatens and terrorizes this lawyer to help her with her transition and says, okay, I'll leave you alone. And then 4 years later, she's like, pow, surprise. Um, and it's like, I want my kids back. And I was just like, okay. Oh, we're doing Mrs. Doubtfire, huh? Mrs. Doubtfire Gangster Edition. Yeah, and again, and just framing how we're all like deceitful liars. So apparently it was adapted from the book Écoute by Boris Razon, as we talked about before. It's actually only based on a single chapter of the book. In that chapter, a minor drug trafficker transitions solely as a means of escaping the cartel. Again, we're playing into this idea that's like, oh, we're just violent cis men that we're trying to gain access to women's spaces. The author, who is a friend of mine, did not develop this character. I asked for the right to expand on the character myself, and boy, did he expand on it. He sure did. He sure did. Oh my god. All right, so here we have a pretty good quote from critic Juan Barquin. A lot of these issues stem from adapting a chapter that is explicitly about a cartel leader using transition as a means of escape. You realize that you might get accused of being transphobic, so you try to smooth it over by hiring a trans actress and revising certain beats without looking at how other parts of the script reflect transness negatively. This is like the movie equivalent of like, oh, I have a black friend. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. You smell like my dad. I'm like, yeah, our smell changes. I do smell different. So again, like I want to give like, so again, I don't want to do like a literal interpretation of this. Um, but like the literal interpretation of this is awful. But if you want to be a little bit more metaphorical with your interpretation of this scene, um, the child is basically just saying, it's like, despite your appearances, you remind me of my dad. But it's just like, why are we focusing on the smells? Just yeah, like, and again, smell is not this like immutable thing. Like a lot of things can affect what you smell like your hormones, obviously, but also like the foods you eat, the products that you use, like whether it be your shampoo, your deodorant, your perfume, or whatever. Yeah, suggesting can sense a parent's true identity. Yeah. So I mean, and this is like this. Here we're getting to kind of the problem behind this is it. The message here is don't trust trans people. Don't listen to what they have to say. Deep down, they'll always be the person you knew they were in your gut, and it's such a shitty message. It robs us of any agency that we have in our own identity. It's just, it's this like really condescending. It's like, oh, I know you better than you know you. Like, fuck you. No, you don't. Yeah. And, we're talking like to hear Jessie talks about like what would have been a really interesting story. Like what would have been a really interesting way to talk about these characters and reckon with, Emilia's pre-transition self and her current life and, the harm that she has caused to people. And that's not what we get. Instead, Emilia calls on her corrupt politician friends from her pre-transition life to fund her nonprofit, leading to a song where Rita points out the shocking revelation that the upper class of the city is corrupt. What? Uh, well, what? Rita compliments Emilia's outfit only for Emilia to not return the compliment, prompting Rita to mutter bitch under her breath. Like, so this movie hates trans people. This movie hates Mexicans. This movie hates Asians. And this movie also hates women. Got it. How much is left? Oh my God. We still got 11 pages. Oh my God. Oh, okay. So there's more. A victim of cartel violence, Epifania Flores, visits Emilia's nonprofit while hiding a knife. At first, it seems she might be there to attack Emilia, possibly having uncovered her past. But no, she's just there to find out what happened to her husband, bringing the knife to kill him if he was alive because he had subjected her to years of abuse. God, my brain cells are leaking out of me right now. Emilia coldly and dismissively tells Flores that her husband is dead, reinforcing her characterization as a narcissist, and only softens after seeing Flores' surprising relief at the news. Emilia comforts Flores, the two even begin a sexual relationship. Like, what? Practically screams at the audience to ask, is Emilia just as violent and abusive as the man Flores was so relieved to escape? Yeah. So again, the movie is into the whole like, oh, like trans women are fucking duplicitous and can't trust them, and we have to exclude them from women's spaces, and that we're a threat and we're just violent men. Like, I remember like a little while ago, like J.K. Rowling, fuck that. I have so many unkind things to say about her, but she created a new women's shelter specifically to exclude trans women from it. It's like, oh, I'm doing a good thing. It's like, no, this is like, yeah, you are objectively helping certain women, not all women, certain women. But this is not about that. This is about your fucking bullshit. Okay, so the audience's growing mistrust is finally paid off throughout the film. Emilia started to build up a new relationship to her ex-wife Jessie as a woman because Jessie thinks Emilia is her dead husband's sister. Oh, so we haven't told. Oh, so she's been oh boy, she's been trans surprising her the whole time. Jessie opens up to Emilia, revealing she had complex feeling about her husband, but ultimately did love him. Oh, well, I have a surprise for you. I am actually him. Like, okay. We also learned that Jessie cheated on Emilia, and the reveal is less centered on Jessie opening up and a more a moment for the audience to wonder if Emilia will reveal her true self by showcasing anger upon learning of Jessie's infidelity. But she doesn't, and we're meant to take that as an indicator of Emilia's potential growth. Wow. So we're supposed to give her points for like not assaulting someone. Like, so now we get songs showcasing Jessie's interior life. I mean, fuck Emilia, that we don't get to learn about her and like Emilia's internal thoughts. So what in the fuck? This is /r/men writing women. The men she cheated on Emilia with, and says, I kid you not, my pussy still hurts when I think of you. Holy shit. This is Reddit, like /r/men writing women. Like, oh my God. That is so cringe. Yeah, here it is, right here. Straight man writing a woman. Like, it 100% is. Like, that fits right in with that subreddit. Holy shit. I hate this. Rita eventually catches Jessie with Gustavo while they're out at a karaoke bar singing a song written for the film El Camino, which contains translated lyrics like, I want to love myself fully, to love myself as I am. That's what being a woman is, right? I mean, you don't cast Selena Gomez and not have her sing a song, so, you know, whatever. But here it's for Jessie, the cis woman, not Emilia. So it's just like, this is like a very like trans-coded lyric that's given to a cis character. This is Yeah, it implies that Emilia, by failing to love herself fully, isn't truly a woman. Yeah, it's not as if the entire world teaches us to hate ourselves and requires Herculean efforts to overcome that. I need a break. I need a break. Hey, I'm gonna drink some water. Mila confronts Jessie about staying out late and getting drunk around the kids. It's an uncomfortable moment as Mila's concern is rooted in her role as their parent, a truth she's unwilling to reveal. So just like to anyone else, it comes off as like, what the fuck? It's none of your goddamn business. Jessie takes it well until she feels like Gustavo has proposed to her and she's planning to take the kids and leave Mexico to finally feel free from her dead husband's control. The argument escalates. Jessie calls Emilia a whore. Emilia snaps and she gets violence. Of course, the trans woman gets violence, and she switches to her male voice, her pre-transition voice. Yeah, so the real Emilia is this violent, abusive man. I'm getting a migraine. Like, I'm actually getting a migraine. I'm actually getting a migraine from this. Like, I can feel it starting. And it's just, yeah. So here, the director admitted his intent. The question is, to what degree is he, as Emilia's male persona, still within her? She dreams of paying off her debt, of redeeming herself, but the world around her is not going to change. Changing the world is a delusion at some level. Where do we see her selfishness in her relationship with her ex-wife? I'm so angry. So angry. I'm just like, I'm taking a breather here. Just trying to, it's just like, the more I read, the more worked up I get. Oh, okay. So here we talked about this earlier. Odial initially envisioned casting 2 actors for Emilia, one for pre and post transition. However, Gascon convinced him to merge the roles, wanting to play the character's duality completely. Oh, so it was the actor's idea to do that. I mean, good for her. I mean, that's got to be tough, but you know, at least she wasn't forced to. Like, it was her idea. She decided to. So like, that's, hey, like, major props to her. And again, like, I hope if this, whatever, like, you know, whatever Academy Awards that this film ends up being nominated for or getting, I hope that Gascon is the only one that gets one. Or okay, we can give props to the cinematography or whatever, but like, you know, um, let's put it this way. I hope she gets cast in other things that are way better than this. Because she's clearly very devoted to her craft as an actor. And if she's this good in this pile of shit, like, imagine her being in an actual good movie. You deserve some praise for casting a trans woman in the role of a trans woman. But if you're going to tell a trans story, you need to include trans people in the writing process. Like, casting is only part of it. Like, that's a half measure. You need to include us in the creative process. Yeah, and this is just a shitty take. If you don't like it, go make your own movie. It's just like, that's such a shitty take. I'm sorry. And yeah, Jessie is one of the few like critics that can actually say it's like, well, actually I did make my own movie. So yeah, y'all should go subscribe to Nebula and go watch Identities. It's great. It's a great movie. Way better than this pile of shit. Oh yeah, so this is the part of the movie that is offensive to Mexicans. Like, um, so again, where Mexico only exists as a drug cartel, like, there is this whole society there, this amazing blend of I can't talk, pre-Columbian culture mixed with European influences that has a deep, deep, deep history. It's like, no, drug cartels, that's it. Just drug cartels. None of the main cast are from Mexico. Zoe Saldana did ask to change her character's initial Mexican background to reflect her own Dominican Puerto Rican heritage. So yeah, good on Zoe for that. Selena Gomez, who is of Mexican descent, did face heavy criticism for her accent in the film. Mexican actor Eugenio Derbez, despite liking the film overall, said in his podcast, Selena's indefensible. Every time she had a scene, we looked at each other and say, wow, what is this? How weird that the director doesn't speak English or Spanish, and the movie is in Spanish and English, and it takes place in Mexico, and you don't understand the culture. It's like if I made a film in Russian without knowing the culture or speaking Russian and talking French. And Gomez responded on TikTok saying that I did the best I could with the time I was given. So again, like usually with like shitty accents, it's almost always not the fault of the actor. It's almost like whenever like you see a shitty accent in a movie, 99% of the time, it's because the actor was not given enough time to prepare. So like I think like the prime example is like if you've seen Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves. Like Keanu Reeves' accent in that movie is atrocious. It's so bad. But he's just like he's not a bad actor. I mean, some people might disagree with that, and this is in the '90s when he was kind of a joke. But I don't think he's a bad actor. Um, you just didn't have enough time to prepare. Like it takes a long time. You have to work with a dialect coach to get your accent right. Oh, apparently they filmed the movie in Paris too. And the director's only been to Mexico like 3 or 4 times. Oh my god. Yeah. This is like it's like Team America. Literally Team America. Oh my god. Many Spanish speakers felt that the dialogue seemed like it was run through Google Translate rather than being crafted or refined by native speakers. Oh my god. I can feel my eye like pulsate. Like, yeah, it's the spectacle-driven portrayal of the Mexican drug cartel that drew the most criticism. Yeah, yeah, and it's just like, oh, like the only thing we know about Mexico is drug cartels. So that's the only thing that we're gonna focus on, like nothing else. And it's like, yeah, the director doesn't give a shit about the violence in Mexico. Yeah, and oh boy, I have a whole thing about French racism. You should go watch my Dune video where I do a real deep dive into French racism. All right, so we're getting back to the movie here. The rest of the film, after the climactic transphobic moment, only serves to solidify its deeply flawed core. Jessie leaves Emilia, taking the children with her. Emilia's oh my god, my body is rejecting this movie. She immediately seeks to control Jessie by cutting off her access to money, gleefully leaving her destitute while hurling sexist insults like slut. And of course, all of this is underscored by Emilia using her deeper pre-transition voice, dragging Rita into the middle of it all. Once again, the film emphasizes that Emilia is still controlling and manipulative, tying her behavior explicitly to masculine coding. So again, playing into this whole idea that she'll always be a man, she'll always be this violent person, and it's just what the fuck? What the fuck? All right, so Jesse and Gustavo escalate things by kidnapping Emilia with a team of goons, cutting off her fingers to extort money through Rita. Oh, Emilia's now the victim of the same cartel violence she once inflicted on others. She deserves it because that's what she did. And during the chaos, Emilia reveals her true identity to oh, this is still like I thought she figured it out by now. Like during the whole like confrontation where she used her male voice. I thought she would have figured it out then. It's supposed to be a romantic moment. What? 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 Gustavo shoves Emilia into the trunk of a car and speeds off with Jessie. But guilt overtakes the emotional Jess. She's being hysterical. A struggle ensues because this film can't help itself. The car veers off a cliff, killing all three of them. Credits. I hate this. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. I hate this so much. Yeah, it's a whole bury your gaze. It's literally, it's like we didn't feel like coming up with a real ending, so we're just gonna kill everyone. Uh, nobody gets to live. Moral of the story is if you want to be trans, you'll still be a violent male and then you die. Oh, there's more. Super. The film ends on a musical number. Emilia is bizarrely celebrated as a saint by the people of Mexico City, with Rita looking on reflectively, as if we're supposed to view Emilia as some complex figure who redeemed himself in the end. But she didn't. She didn't redeem herself. Well, I think that's the end of the movie. I'm like actually getting a headache from this. Like I realize I've been playing this up for this video, but like I'm actually getting a headache from reading this. Like yeah, stories like Emilia Perez aren't for us, nor do they respect us. They are cisgender fantasies devoid of accountability, nuance, or genuine care, empty spectacles rewarded for upholding the very systems of power that oppress us. You said it, sister. All right, that's the end of the script. Oh boy, I've been recording for like over an hour. All right, so yeah, that's the end of my reaction. I am I'm tired, I'm angry, I have a headache. I hate this movie. If I was a billionaire, I would buy the masters of this movie just to burn them. It's awful. I hate it, and I hate that it's getting all these awards. And I hate that like cis people are gonna watch this movie and think, "Oh, what a wonderful story! Oh, I feel like I understand trans people." I hate it. Like fucking okay, cis people, please, please watch trans art that's made by trans people, not these clueless, out of touch, fucking boomer white French guys. Like, no, no, no. Go watch stuff that's made by trans people. If you want a list, here, I'll give you a short one. I Saw the TV Glow, Identities, The Prince. Although I can't vouch for this one personally, The People's Joker, which Jessie does talk about in this script. Um, it exists. There's plus here on YouTube, there are many, like, obviously watch my shit, but there are plenty of trans creators that are making fantastic art. Um, obviously my dear friend Jessie, also our dear friend Aronok. There are so many of us making art. Go watch that. Don't watch this fucking cis garbage. If you want to watch art made by cis people, go, I don't know, go watch like Mission Impossible or some shit. I don't care. I don't do what you want. It's just if you want to watch authentic trans stories, they have to be made by trans people. That's it. Like I just mm, I'm getting worked up. Anyways. Yeah, so thanks for watching the whole video. This was painful. Jessie, I hope I hope you get something out of this. For updates on my channel, I am working on my next long form video, the scripted video. I mean, this was obviously unscripted. I am working on a retrospective of one of my favorite TV shows of all time. That is the literal opposite of this. It is a fantastic queer show that is very genuine and very wholesome and very amazing. So I am working on a script for that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And I'm also, if this happens to come out before January, what is it, January 25th? If this happens to come out before January 25th, I will be at the Star Trek convention in San Francisco, STSF, I think it's called. So if you see me there, say hello. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I did not. um, and we'll see you all next time. All right, take care, everyone. Love you. Bye.